1912. A collector finds a manuscript with no date, no title, no author, written in a language that doesn't exist. It has over 240 pages, and yet not a single one has been deciphered until this date, which has led it to become one of the greatest mysteries of the last century and one of the biggest obsessions of the academic and cryptographic world. For more than 100 years, the world's best cryptographers have tried to crack it. In the 1970s, the CIA and the NASA tried too, but universities like Harvard, Cambridge, and Oxford didn't stay behind and also scanned it and cataloged it, adding up decades of analysis. Naturally, thousands of researchers have obsessed over it. Therefore, there are forums, blogs, and even whole communities dedicated solely to this book. There are also over 80 theories about its origin. This is a book no one has been able to understand, man, not even a single word, let alone a single sentence. This is the story of the Voynich manuscript. The most unsettling part is that the text seems to make sense. There are rules, repetitions, patterns that behave like a real language. The vocabulary follows statistical laws. Words cluster into categories. Some appear only in certain sections, others repeat internal structures, yet that order leads to no translation. At first glance, the Voynich looks like any other old book. It's bound in leather, nothing unusual until you open it. The pages aren't paper, they're thick parchment, the kind used centuries ago. And not all the pages are normal, some unfold like maps. Everything is written in an ink that remains legible despite the years. But what's most striking is how orderly it all is. No errors, no crossouts, no signs of improvisation. Every line, every symbol, every illustration is placed with precision, as if whoever wrote it planned everything from the start. It has over 240 pages, though it's believed more than 20 have been lost. It has no clear relationship to any known alphabet, Latin, Arabic, Greek, nothing. Some symbols resemble cursive letters, others look like numbers, and some like nothing at all. Is it an artificial or lost language? Or perhaps it was never a language to begin with? In 1912, Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish bookseller, bought the book in Italy among a lot of Jesuit texts. Everything seemed normal until he opened it. From day one, Wilfrid became obsessed. Convinced he had found a secret manuscript, he spent the rest of his life trying to decipher it, but never even came close. Today, the manuscript is at the Voynich Library at Yale University in the United States. It's stored under controlled conditions. It's rarely exhibited, but there is a complete digital version. For centuries, the book had no name. Today, we call it the Voynich manuscript thanks to Wilfrid Voynich, though its official shelf mark is Beinecke MS408. Everything in this book is crafted with precision and detail. Each page seems to have a purpose, and yet we understand none of them. For over a century, researchers, historians, and cryptographers have obsessed over the same question: who wrote this? The first clue appeared thanks to Voynich himself. While carefully examining the manuscript, he found a faint signature on one of the first pages, almost stitched into the parchment, as if someone had tried to erase it centuries earlier. Jacobus Sinapius. Jacobus was a physician, imperial distiller at the court of Emperor Rudolph II. He was known for his knowledge of botany, medicinal herbs, and alchemy. The hypothesis seems obvious. If the manuscript contains botanical knowledge and is full of strange plants, maybe it was written by a doctor like him. But that theory was quickly discarded. Most likely, the manuscript simply passed through his hands as part of the imperial library, a gift, a purchase, a loan, but not his work. The second theory comes from a letter, an actual, surviving letter, found with the manuscript. It was signed in 1665 by Johannes Marcus Marci, a professor at the University of Prague. Reverend and most learned Father Athanasius Kircher, my purpose in writing to you today is to present an enigma that has long captured my intellect and that of others. A mystery I trust your vast erudition and deciphering genius might illuminate. The letter was about the Voynich manuscript. Marci wrote that the book had belonged to Rudolph II, Holy Roman Emperor, who purchased it for a considerable sum, 600 gold ducats, believing it contained secrets of the alchemical art. He described pages filled with plants unlike anything known, constellations that didn't match any star chart, everything written in a language no one at the university had managed to decipher. On one page, there's something unique, the only clearly recognizable structure in the entire manuscript, a walled city, but not just any wall. The towers have a specific design, swallowtail battlements, a V-shaped pattern. That detail changes everything. This kind of fortification was used only in northern Italy between the 14th and 15th centuries. Marcy's letter also notes a chain of custody. The book came to him through a good friend, Dr. Raphael Miniszewski, who had inherited it from a colleague. Both had studied it without success. So we can place the author in northern Italy sometime between 1404 and 1438. Then it was acquired by Rudolf II. Later it passed to Jacobus Sinapius, from Jacobus to Georg Barisch, after Barisch's death to Miniszewski, from Miniszewski to Marcy, and in 1665 Marcy sent it to Kircher, and the trail goes cold. All of them held the manuscript, but one thing is clear. We don't know who wrote it, and we still can't read the text. The Voynich is not just an incomprehensible book. It's a book that appears to have structure, order, and intent. It's divided into 6 clear sections. The first is botanical, over 100 plants drawn with obsessive detail. But there's a problem. Most of them don't exist. Some have recognizable roots, familiar stems, almost real leaves, but many look like nothing we've seen. Maybe they're distortions of known species, or simply not of this world. Then the focus changes completely. Circles, constellations, suns, moons, diagrams that look like star maps, zodiac signs. It suggests astronomy or astrology, or a fusion of both. Next, the drawings get even stranger. Dozens of female figures, no clear context, no obvious explanation, just bodies, water, symbols, and text. A lot of text, denser, more continuous, as if something important is being revealed here. Elsewhere, the manuscript looks upward again. Medallions filled with stars, symbols that seem to represent systems, orbits. There are 9 of these diagrams, each different. Later the plants return, but now with flasks, bottles, instruments, no longer simple botanical illustrations, but what look like preparations of medicinal compounds. At the end, the illustrations almost disappear. Only text remains, dense blocks with barely any interruptions. Short fragments headed by small symbols, as if marking the start of instructions, steps, formulas. No drawings to guide you, only words no one can read, in what seems to be the most direct, perhaps most important part of the entire manuscript. It's been estimated the manuscript contains over 170,000 characters, arranged into words between 2 and 10 letters long. There's no chaos, no improvisation. The text has rhythm and logic. At least 22 basic symbols recur with occasional outliers. Some resemble Latin lowercase letters, others numbers, and some nothing at all. Curiously, the script reads left to right, like most European languages. That suggests something important. The author had a system. These aren't random symbols. They're writing something with rules, something structured. One of the first ideas was that it wasn't a language but a cipher, a classic code that substitutes letters with symbols, changes order, alters vowels. This kind of cipher was used to hide confidential information. That makes sense. Codes aren't modern inventions. For centuries, ciphering was essential for kings, alchemists, the military, spies, scientists. Later, more complex methods appeared. Alchemists began using invented symbols or mixtures of languages, not only to protect knowledge, but to avoid accusations of witchcraft. Many wrote Latin, Greek, and Hebrew in the same sentence, mixed with astrological or alchemical signs. There were methods that removed vowels or wrote only the first half of each word. Even in the 15th century, very advanced techniques existed. In Italy, powerful families sent letters with polyalphabetic substitution, where the alphabet changes throughout the text to avoid repeated patterns. Sophisticated enough to torment anyone without the key. The Voynich fits that aura perfectly. Hidden meaning, forbidden knowledge, perhaps reserved for a select few. But here's the problem. Every cipher starts from a real language, Latin, Hebrew, Italian, something underneath. And in the Voynich, there's no trace of an underlying tongue. No recognizable words, no roots, no structure that lets us reconstruct the original language. Real ciphers also tend to leave irregularities, stray fragments left unencoded, isolated words, inconsistencies. The Voynich, by contrast, is too perfect, too clean, too consistent, as if it isn't disguising a language, but inventing one from scratch. Some believe it's not a lost language, but an invented one, a constructed language from scratch, like Esperanto. A complete creation, not a copy, not a cipher, a new language. For over 100 years, the Voynich manuscript has been analyzed letter by letter, symbol by symbol, structure by structure. And today, we stand exactly where Wilfred Voynich stood in 1912, holding a book in our hands that we cannot read. No one knows who wrote it. No one knows why. No one has been able to decipher it. And the truth is, we may never do it. My channel is new, but I want to bring you more stories like this every week. So if you enjoy this kind of content, subscribe.